Welcome to AITV News. In the Atlantic, a complicated and potentially dangerous weather setup is taking shape. Hurricane Humberto and a nearby disturbance that may soon be named Imelda are drifting toward each other, raising the odds of a rare interaction called the Fujiwhara effect. That possible storm dance is the wild card in the forecast for the U.S. East Coast. Humberto is already a hurricane, with sustained winds of about 75 miles per hour. It is expected to intensify through the weekend, possibly reaching major hurricane strength. Current forecasts keep Humberto offshore, though Bermuda could feel wind and rain early next week. The second player is Invest 94L, a vigorous tropical wave near the Dominican Republic that is dropping heavy rain and gusty winds across parts of the Caribbean. Forecasters give it a 90% chance of becoming a tropical depression or tropical storm Imelda within the next 7 days as it moves toward the Bahamas. Of the two systems, this one poses the more immediate threat to the U.S. mainland, especially the Carolinas. Here's where things get tricky. When two cyclones in the same ocean basin come within roughly 900 miles of one another, they can begin orbiting a shared center. That interaction, first described in the 1920s by Japanese meteorologist Dr. Sakuhei Fujiwhara, is known as the Fujiwhara effect. Think of it as two figure skaters linked by an invisible cord. A stronger storm can dominate, pulling the weaker one into its circulation and eventually absorbing it. If their strengths are similar, they may spin around each other, slingshot apart, or even merge into a single larger system. Any of those outcomes can bend their tracks in unexpected directions. While Fujiwhara pairings are more common in the Pacific, the Atlantic saw one as recently as 2023 when tropical storms Philippe and Rina briefly interacted. A repeat performance this year would play out uncomfortably close to the U.S. coast. Several scenarios are on the table. Humberto rapidly intensifies and tugs the smaller storm out to sea, sparing the coastline. Invest 94L strengthens enough to resist that pull, continuing on a path toward the southeast. In that case, the Carolinas could face landfall early next week. A true Fujiwhara dance develops, sending both storms on erratic, hard-to-predict tracks. Regardless of which outcome wins, a surge of tropical moisture is expected to sweep into the southeast this weekend. That raises the threat of heavy rain and flash flooding across the Carolinas, with damaging winds and coastal surge possible if the developing storm comes ashore. Emergency managers in South Carolina are already urging residents to keep a close eye on updates. Meteorologists emphasize that this is one of the most complex forecasts of the season. The key questions: how quickly does Invest 94L organize near the Bahamas, and how close do the two systems actually get? Answers will come over the next 48 to 72 hours. Until then, anyone along the East Coast, especially from Georgia to Virginia, should monitor the National Hurricane Center for the latest advisories and be ready to act if watches or warnings are issued. That's the latest on Humberto, the potential Imelda, and their possible Fujiwhara dance. Stay informed, stay prepared, and keep it tuned to AITV News.